Hello, let's talk about the Batman versus Dracula. This is, of course, the 2025 Halloween special for this year, and I am super excited to be talking about this movie. So yeah, here we go. Basically, the Batman versus Dracula sees the Batman, specifically that version of Batman, the Batman, fighting Dracula, and this movie stars people like Reno Romano, I believe is his name, Tara Strong, Pete Stormare, and of course Tom Kenny. And yeah, this is like a really good movie. This is like in my top 10 favorite Batman films of all time, and of course The Batman is one of my favorite Batman shows of all time. And of course, so basically, one night in Gotham, the Joker and Penguin separately break out of Arkham to find a treasure inside of a cemetery. Forgive me, I had to adjust the camera. So they go look for a treasure inside a cemetery, but of course, the instructions for that treasure was a bit vague. So the Penguin ends up finding Dracula's tomb, and of course it is now up to Batman to cure Gotham of the disease of vampirism, free of course the Penguin from Dracula's control, and of course also defeat Dracula. And yeah, this is, even though it is based off a kids cartoon, this is a surprisingly bloody film, and I don't really think it's violent. I guess, you know, it's as violent as the show itself. You know, there's a lot of punching and some like gunfire, which is what you would kind of see from the show. But the extra sort of kick to it is of course the blood, and this, yeah, is surprisingly bloody. There's a really cool scene with the Joker where he breaks into a blood bank and essentially gets sort of, you know, rained upon with blood. And yeah, like, this is a shockingly violent film. Fun fact, my grandma actually bought this for me when I was like 13 maybe. It was in a Walmart bargain bin, and now granted, my grandma didn't like watch this with me or anything like that. Like, I probably found it, she bought it for me, and then I of course have watched it on my own ever since that day. But it's always been super surprising how kind of violent this film turned out to be. And of course, I don't know, like, it is just very surprising what they were able to do with. In fact, this even aired on Cartoon Network, and if the Wikipedia page is to be believed, it aired, I think, TV Y7 for fantasy violence or whatever. And then of course parents complained, and it would later air on Toonami with a TV 14 or with a TV PG for violence rating. And like, yeah, that's sort of like the crazy thing about this movie, is like how violent it is. But it is also like really good. I think that voice cast is actually really well, particularly Peter Stormare. You may recognize him as like the villain from John Wick 1's like brother in John Wick 2. He's also been in a bunch of like Michael Bay movies and stuff like that, and he's like the dude who plays like evil Russians in like American movies and stuff like that, or like one of the main dudes who plays evil Russians in American movies. And like, yeah, like he's really good, really talented. And I will say that I'm particularly surprised at how amazing his like voice performance is in this film, because like whenever you hear him, you're like, ah, yes, of course, I think that's his voice, that's like him. And like, this is just, he's unrecognizable as Dracula here, and like that's really impressive. There's also of course Tara Strong, and Tom Kenny is I think great here. He's not as funny as he is in like the show, you know. For those people who have seen my review of the Batman cartoon, you know that my favorite villain from that show is Penguin, and I just love how like funny and ridiculous Tom Kenny plays that character, that iteration of the character. And there's not really in this film. I think this movie does take. I mean, there are moments of humor, of course, but I do think that this movie sort of takes itself a bit more seriously than like the show itself. And I think that that also sort of helps the Joker performance as well from Kevin Richardson. And yeah, like this is like a good movie. If you have not seen it, it is highly recommended. I especially love the score. There's a really beautiful sort of violin piece that plays at the beginning, and of course the main Dracula theme is quite haunting. There's some good sound design, and I really love how sort of Mike Mignola-esque the ultimate, or how the cemetery feels. You know, it feels very Mike Mignola, and that surprisingly works very well with the style of the show. The show is very gothic in its way, and I don't know, I appreciated that. As a person who literally spent like all of September watching the Batman show, yeah, like I really liked this, and this was kind of always the plan to review this movie at some point within the next few months. And yeah, I don't know, I just really loved this film. I've always loved this movie, and yeah, like it was just really fun to sort of revisit. This movie kind of makes me wish that every Dracula movie kind of feels this way. Not every Dracula movie, but like, I don't know, I do think that it would not hurt to maybe, if you're making a Dracula movie, watch this, because like this, like I said, this is surprisingly good. And I'll admit, it's maybe nostalgia. I do think that Vicky Vale herself, this is like one of the first things to use Vicky Vale post Batman '89, and even then Vicky Vale isn't really that popular of a character to use. I think she's only really in like Lego Batman 2 and the Arkham games, or at least in this 21st century that we live in. But yeah, but no, like honestly, she is a bit underutilized here, and I think that's just mainly because, you know, you need a love interest for, you know, because it's a movie, and you also need someone for like Dracula, for example, to like lust after, for someone, for him to want to like steal and stuff. And yeah, like I don't know, like it's fine, I guess. But yeah, overall, this is a good movie in my opinion. And if you have not seen the Batman vs. Dracula, I don't think you really need to watch the Batman to appreciate this movie. You just need to love Batman. And yeah, I will also say that I do think that you can watch this maybe anytime during your marathon of the show. I do think that it fits perfectly in between seasons 1 and 2, or 2 and 3. I would recommend 2 and 3 specifically because of the fact that like this movie could bridge the gap, maybe not extremely well, but nice enough, between the goofier final 3 seasons and the more serious first 2 seasons. But you know, watch this movie whenever. It's like a really good time, and highly recommended. So yeah, that is it for now. I hope that you had a very lovely day. Remember that God made special. He loves you very much. You may get another video from me, but who knows? God bless. I love you, and have a happy Halloween, y'all.